welcome viewers to this edition of The Soup, which has brought us to the impressive Landings Resort, just a few hundred kilometers away from the entrance of the Pigeon Island National Landmark in Groseley. I am Medley's Breen, and with me are my two sisters from Mother Mothers. They are here with me. I will introduce you to Linda Chocolate Booth here to my extreme right. Well, to my right. Linda, welcome.
Thank you so much, and it's a great pleasure to be here. And trust me, we have a full package for you today. It's going to be about what's happening in Saint Lucia. If you're a fetera, if you're someone on vacation, or you just want to know what's up, we are here to tell you right here at the landings today.
Thanks, Chocolate. Also with us is Cindy James. Cindy, welcome.
Hi, welcome, and how you doing, girl?
I am good. I have been having a good time here. It's my very first time at the landings, and I have been enjoying it. How have you been enjoying it?
Well, I'm having a blast. I'm just so excited about this show this afternoon. I'm super excited. It's all about Carnival. I said Carnival, yeah.
Okay, somebody's excited about Carnival, so let's talk Carnival. Let's talk Carnival. Maybe we could do a rundown on some of the activities for this year's Carnival 2016. Any of you visited the Cultural Center, the National Cultural Center, for any of the activities? Chocolate?
Sister, I could tell you about the shows, how much I enjoyed them, how much I watched them on TV.
Okay.
But I didn't go to any of the culture.
Okay.
Oh, she stayed home.
So you stayed home.
Yeah.
So Chocolate, were you at any of the shows? I imagine that is
okay, let me answer honestly. I was out. I went out everywhere, but I didn't go specifically to the Calypso shows, which is what I was really looking forward to.
Right.
But I went to some of the events that took place with the Carnival bands and some of the soca events. And I had a fantastic time. St. Lucia is just growing in our culture, in our music festivals, in this whole heritage season, Carnival season. It's beautiful. And you don't have to be someone in costume to enjoy Carnival. You just have to go out with your family and enjoy the colors, the settings, the whole energy. It's just beautiful in St. Lucia.
But I can tell you girls, I imagine you would have heard the news, but for the Intercommercial House competition, which is the business side of the Calypso, Chocolate knows she has participated in the Intercommercial House competition. But this year, I was just moved by so many of the calypsos that were sung, and emerging as winner from the Royal St. Lucia Police Force, 2 years running. Spoiler, well, he wasn't the one who won last year, but the Royal St. Lucia Police Force emerged as winners again this year. Spoiler came out on top, and he is our intercommercial monarch for 2016.
Congratulations to you, Spoiler, but I might just alarm you that this might be your very last time. The Royal St. Lucia Police Force, they need to know that the nurses are ready for next year, because it's an annual event.
Yes, it is.
And it's intercommercial. So that is where you get to really do your networking and just have fun with all the different organizations and the institutions. So we're looking forward to next year.
So you're saying that you'll be competing?
I am sensing
a nurse will compete.
I am sensing that Chocolate is about to get back on.
We need to show them, tell them what time it is. Yeah, man.
You have a song written.
Chocolate always has a song.
Actually, in correction, I took part in the complex calypso competition, and Naomi Grandison was
she was the
winner, and she represented the Ministry of Health, and she won intercommercial in 2014. And in 2015 we didn't participate, so obviously the second best would have won.
Somebody is a bit pompous here. Let's move on. The Calypso Monarch, a female, Minel, not the first time.
But I love you guys.
That's okay. We'll see what happens next year.
We'll see what happens next year.
But Minel, she's the Calypso Monarch for 2016.
Were
you
National Calypso Queen Monarch?
Yes.
And I don't think she disappointed anyone, especially at the Ministry of Health, because Minel has been one of our girls that we love. And I'm just so proud of her, and she's an example to young people. She's gone through a lot of challenges in life, but she's overcome, and she just kept persevering. And no matter what was said in the tabloids about her giving up and traveling and so on, but she is here to show that when Minel sets her mind to perform and win, she will win.
And what about those songs? We'll talk a little about Calypso a little later on in the program, Chocolate. But we're moving on with a little more of the results. Of course, the Groovy Soca Monarch is Arthur Ale, repeat.
Yeah.
I sense that he's one of your favorites. Were you at that show?
I told you. I only
She was there in
watched,
spirit.
yeah.
Well, so you were.
I
So
had
you,
the best spot at home.
but you were there. You were there in
Yeah,
spirit.
right, yeah.
Okay. All
But I
right.
was
I mean,
there, and
you were
trust
there.
me, I'm not surprised that he won it because his presentation, his execution, his vocal preparedness, his concentration, he was just full
Are you a
100 ready.
judge? You sound like
I
a
was
judge.
there, man. He was that good. Because you see, a lot of the artists, they come on stage and they take the energy, they grab the energy from the audience and they go shouting and dancing, which is all well and good. But you have to remember that you are the one performing. You are the one on the stage. And you have to be in charge of your vocals. And when Arthur came on, it was like a recording, a live recording. You could hear he was just singing. He was literally singing, not shouting. And I was not surprised when he came out on top. Well done, Arthur.
From what I know, the Groovy Soca Monarch, that is one of the differences between that particular show and the Power Soca. There is an element of singing that is expected from the artist for Groovy, and Arthur certainly brought his game on.
Well, I
on
hope
the
you're
night
not saying
in
that there's
question.
not an element of singing for the soca.
No, it is expected. I'm
Oh.
saying that it is expected that there is more of that happening
Right.
for Groovy,
Yeah.
so that the singing is going to encourage the audience
Yeah.
to move, and there isn't that expectation that you have to ask your audience to move and jump. And
Exactly.
And
And
like
speaking
you said,
of
like the
the audience,
presentation,
yeah.
like his presentations, the dancers at the back, and it was just so full of excitement. I was home with a rag, dancing.
And you were dancing.
Yes.
All
I
right.
should have
Okay.
come to you. I should have come to your
I
house.
wanted to be a backup dancer.
And I
you know?
enjoyed for free.
Yeah, but you decided to be on the field. I decided to be home. Okay?
But they were very well prepared. You could
Yes.
tell. And this takes a lot of preparation. man.
It does.
It does take a lot of preparation. And he was very comfortable, showing that he had prepared himself and he knew what he was about. The only downside to it was being in the crowd. He had this whole posse from Soufre. And my God, I thought I would have been knocked down because they were there full spirited and just shouting three feet. And they just was like they knew he was going to win.
Sufra people are hot. Sufra people have a
That's a
lot of
generous
fire.
statement.
Very supportive.
They have lots of fire, I can tell you.
All right.
Sufra Massive is going to represent their boy. Power Soca, we have Neil Eilerman Gittins. There we go. Yeah, you represented Mad. Band of the Year, Tribe of 12. Any of you were on the road for Monday and Tuesday? Were you?
I was at work.
You were at road. Okay.
Smiling.
I'm
Were
not
you?
going to tell you another time.
Okay. So you didn't go on the road on Monday and Tuesday either?
I try to enjoy everything in the comfort of my home.
Okay.
It's cool. Nobody rubbing on me. Nobody pushing me.
High five
But
to
that's
that
all
girl.
of that.
High five.
That is
right
all of
over
the
her
fun.
head.
Yeah.
Okay, that's part of the
She
fun.
enjoyed herself.
But Road March, a song that all of us can sing to, I'm sure.
No, I'm not
Partners.
mad.
Partners,
Sorry.
Road March.
Sorry, I'm
Road
slow.
March. Mark
I'm
11, congratulations to
Gosh.
him. That song is just so infectious.
To no surprise. Now the thing is, some people are wondering how did it win Road March? But the thing is, it's so infectious. It doesn't matter if you really think that it's the best written song. Although when you listen to it, he took a lot of time and preparation in his lyrics. But it's just so infectious. I mean, I went to one of the restaurants on the Rodney Bay Strip a night, and after one of the events in the clubs, the people came out on the road. A taxi driver was playing Partners, and the people had their own road match on the road at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
That's how infectious the song is.
It
So
is.
it was to no surprise that Partners, Mark 11, well done. And we're looking forward to seeing what you're going to come out with next year.
Carnival Queen is Miss Fix, Tyler Theophane. I wasn't at that show, but I watched it on telly, and it was a fascinating
But
one.
tell me, when you looked at the girls from the inception, the first time they were actually advertising the show and introducing the girls on TV and so on, didn't you just think that she would win?
Actually, I try not to prejudge and
Okay.
and do that sort of thing. I wait until the night and I judge on the particular night.
Good answer. Good answer. Is that your final answer?
That is my final answer. And we're moving on. Panorama champion, Labrie Steel Orchestra. Congratulations to my folks in Labrie. Very well deserved. They did a fabulous job on Friday evening, Carnival Friday. Junior Carnival Band. Well, my daughter was super excited because Just Us Kids won. on.
Did she
She
participate?
dances. No, she doesn't. But she dances with Silver Shadowed dancers. So,
which is why. Is it
why
the
she was
same
so excited.
leader?
It's Barry George, yes.
Okay,
Barry
he's
George,
responsible for
yes,
both the dance group and the band.
and the carnival
So
band.
she was super excited.
She was super excited. She was jumping for joy.
there,
Yes.
yeah.
Mass on the Move, Insanity, Section of the Year, Royalites Extreme. There was a tie there. Royalites Extreme and Tribe of 12, and Band of the Year. Did I mention
Yeah.
Tribe of 12?
Yeah.
So a roundup of the carnival activities that we had for 2016, and we just want to say congratulations to all of our winners, and we look
That's right.
forward
Yeah.
to Carnival 2017.
And when
Might
we
be on
come
the
back,
road.
we're going to be interviewing some special people who could give us some inside information as to what happens during the season.
Yes. So we will be right back. When we come back, we'll be introducing our guests.
Welcome back to The Soup. I'm your host Cindy James, and we're in the presence of two young men, Mr. Antonius Sikra Gibson whoop, whoop, and Mr. Royston Taylor. And we're going to be talking about Carnival back then and Carnival now. I have a little story to share with you guys. That's okay?
Please.
I love
Story
stories.
Awesome. So, I was like heavily involved in church, and I decided to spend the summer by my dad. And while spending summer over there, it was the carnival season. Well, my favorite season, low key. And my dad's wife, she decided that we should go to Carnival. I'm like, no, I'm not going to Carnival. I'm so involved in church. I'm not going to go to Carnival. I'm just going to stay home. She said, look here, every single person under this roof is heading to Carnival.
Okay.
So I had to be obedient, and I went down to Carnival, guys. And let me tell you, I had the time of my life.
I think Siki could relate to that, right?
I had the time of my life. Back then, like around 7 o'clock, you could jump in the bands and do a little something.
Right.
So I decided to jump in at 7 o'clock, and let me tell you,
That was in the
I just
PM?
went. I had a good time. I had a swell time, and let me tell you, I did get in trouble afterwards with the church. But that's okay. I knew I had a lot of fun, and
They forgave you?
yeah, they did actually.
Sins are forgiven.
Wow.
Thank you.
And he has the ability to do that.
Yes. And coming
So
from
you
a man.
participated in your like normal outing clothes, or were you in costume?
Right, because back then it was like just like family. It was family oriented. So at a certain time after the bands passed, like you could have joined in around 7 o'clock and
Okay,
just
okay.
take a little.
Yes.
So did you go on stage?
Not on stage, just
In the
behind a
band,
band.
Because I know the bands have to pass the judges, and in order to pass the judges, you go on top of the stage and then get
No,
off
no, no,
stage.
that's-
No,
that's-
that's
today.
That's not that
That's
part.
today.
Oh, this happens only now. But
Yeah.
back then it wasn't that way.
No, back then you went to
I'm
Mississippi
learning. I'm
Park.
learning.
Good.
Okay.
So that's maybe a good time to bring Mr. Antonio
yes.
Sikra Gibson
I'm
in.
so happy you're here. I wouldn't have known that.
But
Yeah.
I think the first, well, for me, what I want to know is where did Sikra come from? That name.
The name
Yeah.
Antonius
Sikra.
Sikra Gibson.
Yeah.
Sikra is a name that came from St. Mary's College.
Oh,
If you went to St. Mary's College and you were not given some sort of name, then people didn't know you. Now it came out of cricket.
okay. You're a
Okay.
cricketer.
No, we were, as schoolboys, we would go on the field and play cricket. But the field boys played so well that they struck the ball all about. So somebody looked at me and said, where? Who do want sick cow? Which meant you sweet like sugar. So everybody started calling me Sikra, 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 Sikra.
Nice.
How it came about.
And
All right.
some people don't even know your first name is Antonius.
That's right.
They just know you are Sikra.
That's right.
And the name has stuck.
I'm stuck forever.
Wonderful. Let's talk a little about your involvement in Carnival. How did you get involved?
I got involved through my sisters. I was a toddler, infant school, and Carnival was not a competitive thing.
Okay.
So after school at 3 o'clock, Monday and Tuesday, they would dress me up, hold my hands, and walk around town. And people would just look out of the window, hey, that one is nice, oh, that one is lovely. And that's what it was. And revelers crisscrossed each other.
And by
on the
dressing up,
streets.
you mean in costume?
In costume, yes.
So that they would make the costumes for you.
Yes, my sister would make the costumes for me.
Were they involved in Carnival in any other way, or it was just you that
Just me.
they dressed up?
Just me, they dressed
Okay.
up, you know, with all this crepe paper and all this sort of thing.
So you became involved from very early. You were brought into the Carnival by your
Definitely,
sisters.
yeah. I was brought in. And what happened was that I lived a block away from the Walcott brothers.
Oh.
And my yard, my parents' yard was a very, very large yard. So that they used the yard for Turks, which was the Walcott's Carnival band,
Right.
to practice and to build the pans. And because of that, I learned how to build pan, I learned how to be part of Carnival,
Wow.
how to build costumes, and that's how it all came about.
So it was an easy transition then for you to take on the leadership role of a Carnival band.
Oh yeah, well, it happened when Roddy Walcott, who was a great Carnival enthusiast, he was director of culture here
Right.
and migrated to Canada. When he migrated to Canada, and most of us young guys were playing in the Turks Carnival band, then I decided, well, I'm going to have my own band. And that's how I started off.
Nice.
And quite a few of the guys joined in with me, and that's how we progressed from there on.
Was there a struggle financially to get a band going?
There was not a struggle financially if you knew what to do.
And you knew what to do.
Well, I tried to know.
So what did you do?
What did I
Yes.
do was that the first thing about it as a band leader, you go to the bank and you take a loan. And
Wow.
in those days, my banker was Mr. McDonald Dixon. Okay. And
Yes, a cultural enthusiast.
and we started off from there. But to be able to offset cost and to bring in money, I got a relationship with the Burning Flames from Antigua.
And how did you do
Well,
that?
Desmond Braffett again was a friend of these guys in Antigua, and he was part of our Carnival band. So we got linked up together.
What a network. He's mentioning
know.
quite a number of
Quite a
names.
number of
Desmond
names.
Brathwaite, remind me again.
Roddy Walker.
Desmond Braffett
you
was
mean
an
who he was?
ex-minister. He
Wow.
goes a long way.
Wow.
It goes a long way, I must
Your
say.
networking
Yeah.
system was
And,
quite
uh,
extensive.
Yeah.
What we did was that we brought in the Burning Flames about 2 weeks before Carnival, and we booked halls all around the island. And so they played, and that's how we generated our funds.
Nice.
You know?
So when
that-
you went to the bank to get a loan, right?
Yeah.
Did you ever get any profits, like any returns for yourself personally?
There's absolutely no profit in Carnival. You do it for the love of it.
Wow.
And the response you get from the people. Okay, people come
Smiles on the time.
from Labrie, from Suzel, from all over the place, and they're coming up to see your band.
Nice.
Right.
That is
So,
interesting. I think I want to introduce our next guest with that question, and I want to pose it to him as well. With us, as Cindy indicated, is Mr. Ruston Taylor, a very familiar face when we speak of Just for Fun. Mr. Taylor, would you agree with Mr. Gibson that there is no financial benefit from Carnival?
First of all, no Mr. Taylor. This is
Okay,
Carnival.
Ruston. All right. So, Ruston.
Definitely. Carnival is not a profitable venture. And if you don't do it for the love of it, you won't be doing it for long. For us, our events, which are very successful, always take us over the line. So that's how we're successful in coming back every year.
So do you guys take loans, personal loans to?
Yes, and guarantees and
Wow.
personal funds, that's part of it. It's
Wow.
that's why you
Wow.
have to do it for the love of it.
Yes,
If you
yes.
don't do it for the love of it, you won't last in Carnival.
But this year, Just for Fun experienced a really tragic time, and I really felt it deep within because you lost a very valuable and active leader in
And
the
friend.
bands, and friend, and colleague, Andy Belmar. He succumbed to injuries immediate injuries at an accident. That's the day before Carnival
on his way
began.
to sea.
What?
On his way
What?
to see you.
Yeah.
On his way to see you. Wow. Tell me about the experience and what you were going through at that time.
It's tough. Still is.
Wow.
As a team, we always pull through. We rallied right away, got the team together, and did what Andy would have done. Produce mass. Yeah.
How did you get involved in Carnival?
For me, like Sikra, my aunts back in those days they used to have something called the banks used to have a band. What was it? Just T-shirt bands or something.
Yes.
So, and that's how we started. We lived in the CDC, and my aunts would take us out on the trucks and everything else, and that's how you got involved in Carnival at a very early age.
And
I was 5 or 6 years old.
Oh, wow. And through the years, what kept you interested?
I really
in it?
got involved in the mass aspect of it when I came back from school in 1989. Saint Lucians Spirits with Joan Hinkson, making costumes. When I came in my first year, you had to go to JQ, buy 2 yards of material, take it to a seamstress, and I just found that we need to move away from that sort of thing. And then I sort of introduced them to mass production in terms of the factories with Bell Fashions, which I work closely with through NDC, and that's how we started mass producing costumes. You know.
But
from there, the rest is history.
yes, it is indeed history. Do you guys, or you must have heard that argument that Carnival now, because of that mass production,
Right.
That decision to mass produce, Carnival has somehow lost its creativity that you would have been familiar with in your time when there was the mass, there were mass camps, and people who were involved in Carnival, the revelers, were a part of producing their own costumes. What do you say to that massive shift from what you knew when you were a Carnival band leader to what you see happening now?
The first thing you have to accept that time moves on. Things never seem to stay the same. Yet when you look at it, you think it's the same. But what happened then and now? First of all, Carnival then was a pre-Lenten festivity. It had its religious connotations and all that. You jump mass on Monday and Tuesday, and Wednesday you went for Ashes, Ash Wednesday, and you went to the cemetery and buried Vaval and this sort of thing. This is a different time now. Carnival now is down in July. For reasons best known to ourselves, I'm sure the people who were responsible felt that it was more profitable, or it gave St. Lucia a sort of a separate look than being involved with Carnival in Trinidad and Dominica and Martinique and all these carnivals at the same time. So because of this difference in time, obviously design and music and every single thing is going to change, and it's a question of we have to adapt to what goes on now.
And we've had our arguments about that.
Yes,
For years.
Yes.
He was on one side, I was on the other, trying to change, and he was. But you get a better appreciation for the traditionalists and what they really believe in. I still think there's an opportunity for that type of mass. But like he says, change comes every year, and you need to start adapting to the change, or else you're going to be left behind.
So I would imagine that some of the judges who are judging the Carnival bands as they go by may have one of the two opinions. What do you think that the judges look for right now?
This is a very, very interesting point. I pity the judges. I think it is very difficult judging a Carnival band now, because I do not know. Now, to be fair, I watch Carnival from my television screen.
That makes two of us.
Now, I don't know what the judges are looking for,
Yeah.
because
Whether it be the costumes or the organization.
I
of
look at the
band or
movements,
themes.
and as far as the choreography is concerned, I see everybody doing the same thing on the stage. Everybody doing it the same way, everybody dancing the same way. I look at the various sections, and well, probably a today band leader would not notice that. Sitting there watching my television, I can actually take one section of a band and fit it into another band, and it wouldn't matter. You would know that it comes from
different
another band.
band.
Yes,
The band
because of it's just a different name. The costumes are so close. Okay, and whereas in the past we dealt with more fabric, national mass, and you want to play a mass about Saint Lucia, Wavin Poisson disaster or something that happened, a historical event.
Right. Something of
It is
significance.
not so
Okay.
now. There's nothing. You see, the design now is more for a sort of a fantasy and the enjoyment of the reveler.
I think this kind of discussion has been going on for years
Yes.
as to where Carnival it should be going. Can we strike that balance? Do we need to strike that balance, or do we need to just allow ourselves to move with the times and go where the mass is taking us? And so I think that discussion will continue for a long time to come.
Yeah.
And I am happy we had that discussion. I always wanted to know what the more traditional kind of band leader felt as opposed to the
young ones?
That's right.
Take your compliments. Grab it fast.
younger ones. But we are due for a break here.
Yeah.
We will take that break.
But before we take the break, I would just like to extend my condolences personally from me and our family, the Soup, to Just for Fun and all the others who were
And
close
then
to
his
Andy
families. He had about
Belmont.
3 or 4 different families.
I know, right?
Wife and kids,
It
he had
really
the Just for
touched
Fun, he had
everybody.
the
So we
bands,
extend our
yeah.
condolences to
Thank
you,
you.
and hats off to the strength and energy and unity that it brought in among everyone.
I'm happy you did that, because I am not in a position to do that. I'm a crybaby. So I'm happy
okay
you
to
took
cry.
that one on. Yes, it is.
I'm good to do that,
But probably not on set.
I just did.
I'll be like a dirty crier.
did. You missed
Yes.
it.
Yeah, but it was so beautiful, his crying.
Yeah.
Mine is terrible, chocolate. Yes, it's terrible. But we're due for that break,
Very
so
true.
we will take that break, and when
Beautiful.
we get back, we'll introduce another one of our guests. Thank you so much for staying with the Soup. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the Soup. It is a pleasure to be here in this lovely settings at the Landings Hotel and Spa. By the way, they offer packages throughout the year for both family and couples and kids. So it's a beautiful place to be. So you could come on down to the Landings and enjoy what we are experiencing right now. Beautiful tropical experience, calm place to be on vacation. But today we have a special guest. And for those of you who have been involved in Calypso, which is a very Caribbean style of music, it's a genre that a lot of people who grew up in the Caribbean islands would be familiar with. We are going to be speaking a lot about Calypso, where it's from, and we have none other but Mr.
Cecil Charles.
Mr. Cecil Charles
Better
from
known as
Takeover
Charlo.
Tent. He is the general manager, the chief cook and bottle washer, I could say, of Takeover Tent. So
Yeah, part of a
Cecil-
whole team.
The part of a whole, I like that, part of a
The
whole
whole
team,
team.
because it's not just you, you're working with a team. So Cecil, probably you could tell us how you got involved, first of all, in Kaiso.
Okay. My whole introduction, I mean, I was a follower of Carnival, but in terms of being involved in the whole management of it and so on, was when I came back into teaching in 1994, being a teacher at the Cyrus Simmons Secondary School. I was approached by a former Calypsonian. Right now he's living in Canada. And at that time, Miss Pascal was the principal of Cyrus Simmons Secondary School, and they basically said, look, you have to come and do this thing. And that's how it started. We actually started having our school shows at the Gaiety Cinema at that time. And then from there, it grew until we moved over to the school. And then at one point in time, Cyrus Simmons was known for the place to be when it came to a Calypso, school's Calypso thing. And from at that point in time, what really happened is that we were able to identify a number of youngsters who we felt were very good, that they did not only remain in the school system, but that they were able to go into the tents, whether it was just as guest performers and so on. And that's how it came about with people like Trisha and so on, and Rachi and all those persons. And from there, other schools started doing it. And you then began to have that little rivalry between the takeover tents, the ambassadors and so on. But all in all, what it has done is has exposed a lot of the youngsters to that, what we might call the big fellas thing. Some people have a problem with it in terms of the age and so on. But that is the only avenue whereby in terms of from the school that there's no middle gap. So naturally, if there's no middle, then from the small, they have to go to the big.
But there was junior calypso.
But the junior calypso always for the schools, And so in other words, if you're not a student at a school, you could not take part in the school's competition.
You could graduate from the junior clubs to the...
Yeah, but you could go into the TOTs and so on. But then, of course, the age factor came into being, as we all know. But all in all, what I love about it is that the youngsters were able to get that exposure, and they're still getting that exposure. And as we could see, most of the persons who are really doing the calypso and the soca are young people.
You mentioned that your colleague told you should just take on the mantle of the leadership role in starting something. What about you did they see to cause them to ask you to do that?
Well, growing up, I've always been involved in youth groups and so on, whether it was scouts or church group or whatever it is. So the leadership aspect of things was always inculcated in me, where I developed. I mean, you might look at me being in calypso, but I was also very much involved in church and so on. And then when you had the Caribbean Conference of the Churches, that was donkey years ago. I don't think most of you all might have been born. People like Shikra might have been born. Okay, as you can tell, well, he's now Cardinal Felix. You had Reverend Membry, all those guys from the Caribbean. I was very much part of that whole youth movement during that point in time. So I developed that leadership quality, that leadership skill from being involved in church. And of course, I've found myself in the wider arena, although sometimes people tell me, but you have to go back to church.
I never saw you as that kind of man, Chalo, that church-oriented man.
Oh, you'd be surprised. Growing up, I mean, I was acolyte, I was chief bottle washer, just name it, I always became a priest.
You, really?
Yeah. In the Anglican church, I would not have done it in the Catholic church. I don't believe in
too many restrictions.
Yeah,
there.
Too many restrictions.
Okay. And
being who I am now, you know.
Yes. But you play a particular role within the TOT tent, which is business manager. What is your role, and how challenging do you find that role of business manager, having to deal with the financial aspect of an industry which has been hitting hard times for a very, very long time?
Okay, the interesting thing about it, you might hear the name says such as business manager, but what we actually have is that we have a team of persons who work within the organization. So you have persons like Wayne Vitalis, you have Fulgen Senpri, persons like my wife and so on. And what we do is that we have different committees. So basically the workload is not focused or strained just for one person. So yes, I'm the big mouth. You might see me. I'm the one who up and down. I'll be going to the RCA and so on and try to beg Mr. Sikra for a little sponsorship, for the ads and so on. And I'm in the forefront, but at the end of it all, there are a lot of persons who are at the back of things, making things happen. We have a special production team. And what I need to tell you is that because of how we have been able to operate, we have found ourselves even involved at a national level, where we basically are in charge of the production of the national calypso shows. So all in all, it is from what we have experienced and what we are doing as a team, we have been able to be successful. And I mean, heads always meet, as we always say, but at the end of it, what we want is that we put out a top quality product out there, and that is what we have been doing. If you notice, there's a merger. Well, it's not a merger, we call it a collaboration between Takeover Tent and Soca Village. And at first, it was not something that was cemented. It happened that kind of way, but right now, it is almost structured, and we continue in that vein until maybe, we don't know, it might change again. But at this point in time, that's the best way we realize that we could operate, because we want to ensure that there's a top quality product that we always promote when persons come to TOT Soca Village events.
There always seems to be this
Come on, say it.
this
Don't hold back.
annoyance that Calypsonians have as it relates to their remuneration during the season. How is that being handled? What are we doing moving forward so that our Calypsonians who are telling the story, the history of Saint Lucia through music, how they are going to be kept happy so that they keep telling Saint Lucia's story?
Yeah, and that's very interesting, because one of the concerns that we have had is the fact that when you look at the product, the Calypsonian is the person who persons come to see. Not, I mean, the backdrop is important, the whole thing, the venue, everything is okay. But then at the end of it all, what we realize is that the main persons in the art form are the ones who get the less remuneration, sometimes none at all. Because you see, for example, you're putting on a show. So you have to think of the venue, you have to pay for the band, the musical band, the hi-fi, just name it. I mean, anytime you have a show at the cultural center, you're talking about between $20,000 to at least $40,000 just to put on a show. The entrance fee is so much, all right? And I could tell you that in no way that most times we are able to cover the cost of paying the band, the musical backup band, with what we collect at the gates. So sometimes the sponsorship, and we are very grateful to persons who have really stood with us and so on. But of course we realize that we are on lean times and so on. The sponsorship might not always be in the form of cash. Okay, there's product and so on, and sometimes people don't understand those things. Now at the end of it all, I mean, there are a number of players. For example, the arrangers. Arrangers would charge a Calypsonian maybe about $300 per song. A Calypsonian, as we know, has to have at least 2 or 3 songs. All right? The writer might sell, it depends on the arrangement he or she has with the Calypsonian. The Calypsonian himself, and in fact we did a financial operation with the artists for them to understand how much it costs them. And most of them didn't get it, you know. So yes, we know that the artists are the ones who are supposed to be the beneficial to it all. But then you cannot have the artists alone. You have to have all the service providers with you. And I could tell you, whereas maybe because they are a member of your organization, that is the Calypsonian, yes, you might tend to pay the others before, but the service providers, they do get very angry if we are not able to pay them. So at the end of it all, I think the artist usually ends up getting the end of nothing, which I honestly am saying is not the right thing. What happened to is that when the government, a couple of years ago, when they first invested into the Carnival, for the Ministry of Tourism or Tourist Board, where that money was injected. Before that, we used to pay a backup band $3,000. From the time that money from government came in, the cost of a backup band went up to $7,500 to at least $10,000. Every service provider increased his fee. Our gate entrance fee could not go up. Other persons are in, but our operating costs went up. So yes, you'll see that big show and so on, but at the end of the day, it is a cost factor that is really preventing us from paying the artist what he or she truly deserves. And I just pray that one day it happens where the artists are the ones who will be the biggest beneficiary, because they are the ones people come to see.
Okay, so Charlo, right?
Yes, my
If
girl.
I want to sing Calypso next year, I want to write a song, do something next year. What kind of training is there? Because when I go out there, I want to be the winner, like Minel. You understand?
Right.
So tell me, what type of training is in place for an upcoming star? I said star like myself.
Okay, what we do within our organization, that is the TOT Soca Village, is that we basically have auditions, and what we do is that we have writers who we align with certain singers. So most of the times, a writer will say, I want to work with a particular singer, or a writer will tell you, Charlo, I'm looking for a young lady.
A young lady?
So I think you're
lady.
already
Yes, I'm a
in
young
that thing, and I
lady.
could tell you have some serious writers who would work with
I
you.
have some good vocals too.
Well, I know that, Cindy. You are my neighbor. You are my neighbor. All right. So yes,
That's what's up. Cindy is just getting things done right now.
No, but I'm glad that I met her here today, All right, but what happens is that we team people up, and the writers usually work with certain artists that they feel comfortable with and so on. And even from the school level, what we do as a tent leader, tent manager, I will go around to the schools and so on, particularly when the schools Calypso and identify persons and so on.
Nice.
Okay, we have people like Lil Nick, who had won a couple of years before. He started as a guest artist, but now he's competing in TOT as a full member. So what we do, yes, we go out there and so on, we begin to scout around, and before the season starts, we actually have our workshops. Okay, so during our workshops, we have person like Hayden who come to do performance on stage. We have people like one of our esteemed judges, Jennifer Gastor. She actually come do some voicing. So we have a team of persons all there. As I said, we have a comprehensive structure in place where we are able to. And when people like Ricky T, when people like Ambi came in, how they are performing now, that is not how they were when we first got them.
And that's really good. And hats off to you guys for having a whole team to help build and manage the artists. But we'll come right back because we have a beautiful boat passing through and we want to hear everything that you have to say. So it's all happening here in the Soup. A lot of information about what's happening behind the scenes with our cultural festivities during Carnival season. Welcome back to the Soup. I'm Linda Chocolate Bertha with my lovely hosts and our guests, and we're having a beautiful conversation. And the main reason I think that this conversation is beautiful is because we're at the Landings. It's resort and spa.
It's beautiful.
It's a beautiful experience, and I think I would be coming back because they offer a range of dishes, international and local dishes. The experience, the fact that they cater for families and kids. Specifically, I think I'm going to come back here.
There are two reasons I really love here so far, Chocolate, and I'm sure I'm going to find other reasons. One is the size of the bathroom. I love it. I absolutely love it. So spacious. You know, we always need space to get our stuff done in the bathroom.
Yes, definitely. It's a woman thing.
Yes, we can't help it. And the pools, earlier on, well, some of us came with our children, and the children have been in the pools, and that's one of the amenities that is offered to the guests of the Landings. So it's a family fun environment. You come with your family on a weekend and you have a blast at the Landings.
That's right. And the rooms are 1, 2, and 3 bedroom rooms. I mean, it's
Suites?
Let's just suites. Exactly.
Yes.
That's what
we
I'm
must
trying to say.
organize so we can come out here and do a. Okay,
I
we're
second that.
we're moving on because we're going to get into a discussion.
But Cindy
completely.
was having a field time speaking with our guests because she seemed to be very interested in being involved
Participating.
Calypso,
in the
yes.
Calypso. Are you serious about it, Cindy?
I'm very serious about it. Look out for me next year. I might be
right.
Cindy Island Cutie the Calypsonian.
She has a name.
Cutie the Calypsonian.
Island Cutie the Calypsonian.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Island
Island Cutie.
Yeah, that's
I like that. You're not just thinking of being here in Saint Lucia. You're already prepared and packaged.
International.
Your name is
Mhm,
international.
Hashtag.
Island Cutie.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You heard
I'm
it
right.
first on the soup.
Cindy have a lot of vibes, boy. What?
So
You need to take her
Charlo.
under your wings.
Yes, please take me under your wings.
Definitely.
Write my songs.
I have no
Okay.
fear, Cindy. I'll be
So-
at the bank on Monday morning.
Okay, so Charlo, tell us, what do you think about the music programs in our schools?
Okay, for sure it has to be developed more like it was done in the past when we had people like Joyce Ogis and so on. And I think that's where a lot of the young, not the youngsters, but a lot of guys like Invader and Ashanti came through. But you used to actually have a lot of music programs. The schools used to have the little concerts and so on. It wasn't just academics.
Yes, exactly.
One of the things I'm noticing right now is that persons like Shemi G and a lot of the youngsters who, I mean, they went through Cyrus, so I know them. These were guys who were not academic, you know. Not that they were dunce. And look at all the music that they are producing now. Now at school they did not have that opportunity, that chance, because there was no music program per se. Okay, or persons at that time, I think, and the other thing, when we look at the music program, it's to think, okay boy, you're not good in English, you're not good in math, so you're not good to do the business subject. I fear music. You know, go into the food and nutrition thing. We have to move away from that.
Right, yes.
I don't know if you noticed the whole theatrical thing that was done for the opening of Rio Carnival.
Olympics.
Olympics.
Yes.
All that is theater. All that is music and so on.
Exactly, the creative
And
arts.
you know, it is not no novice people that were part of that whole planning, presenting what was presented there last night. And I think we could go. When I hear our music, and I heard the music in Brazil and so on, and a lot of calypso is actually from Brazil and so on too.
Okay.
We have to understand that, we are bigger than what we think. That persons who look down on the music, the theater arts programs in school, or think that it is only for dance children, come on, we have to move away from that.
That's right.
Because I could tell you, the JQs, the Marcies and so on will not be able to employ all those young people coming out there, and we already see what the music is doing for them. Shemi J is a classic example. There are a number of others. You look at the Ricketies, the Ambies and so on. The Gulokoko guy, what's his name? Monster. Just name those fellas. We might not be happy because they are not of that traditional calypso. But the fact is that they're on shows every week.
Right.
They're on show every month and so on. And they are creating employment for themselves.
That's right.
So let us take this music thing serious. Jason Joseph, I know, is doing a fantabulous job, but there are a lot of persons who within the education system are holding it back down because, boy, sports is not for you, this is not for you, and so on. We have to move away from that.
And I think this is why a lot of the academically achieved students are also musically and creatively inclined in the arts and so on, because you have to read music.
That's right.
You have to know how to paint well. And I could actually be a witness of it because I got the award for arts.
Wow.
And I'm a singer, but I'm very good in academics. I'm a nurse. So, we need to encourage the schools. We need to encourage the schools, no matter what school it is, to include these vocational courses, music, creative arts, drama, and so on, and take it very seriously.
And we need the dancers at the back, okay? So
Exactly, because you have students from St. Mary's College who are doing so much, and thank God for Ted Sandiford, who is helping them in production, in videos, and so on, because yes, they're very intellectual, but they're very creative. And you cannot tell a child, stick to your books. No, because God gave them several talents that need to be used.
We need to just understand that we have an entire person and not somebody who either fits in one boat and or they fit into another one. They are an entire person with several skills, and once we begin to think of that, then we're heading in the right direction.
It's holistic, a holistic development thing, and that is where we have to move.
Yeah, but there's a lot in store, and we have a lot to discuss here, so we're really looking forward to our next segment. There's a lot of interesting things that you need to know of what's happening on the island and in the Caribbean and with the Caribbean people who are all over the world. And the soup is here to bring it all to you right here in your living room.
welcome back to this soup, and we are here at the luxurious boutique, The Landings. Big shout out to Team 758 who represented us well in Rio.
Oh yes. Big
shout out to you guys.
Whoop, whoop. I'm so proud of them. So we had 5 people.
Yes.
I mentioned Janelle Shaper.
There's Laverne Spencer, of course.
Uh-huh.
Another high jumper. There's Stephanie Lavelle.
Right. David Best. That's the name, right?
Javid.
Javid Best.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Javid.
The lovely looking Javid Best.
Okay, take it easy. Take it easy, son.
And we also have Jordan
OJ.
That's right. That's
5
correct.
representatives.
Yeah. But just looking at the athletes, they look well. Thanks very much.
You mean in terms of physique, or
in terms of physique? In terms of physique. But seriously, people like Spencer, she has matured. She has gracefully matured, and just the same way Darren Sammy matured in being so much more media friendly and the way he speaks and so on. She as well has come a long way in speaking and just expressing herself exactly how she feels. And sometimes she expresses her disappointments in such a very classy and mature way. And I'm so proud of these guys. They work hard, and hint to anyone who wants to represent the island in Olympics, you really need to work hard at it. It doesn't happen in a day. Like they say, Rome was not built in a day. So you really have to work hard. Even in those in the creative arts, you have to keep working. We have people like Showin Dupsy. He is every single day doing something musically, whether it be writing, going to a school and speaking to young people about music, about being creative, about traveling, representing the island in Manchester, wherever. He is working really, really hard. And sometimes I ask him, boy, when do you sleep? But that's what it takes to really go towards achieving your dreams.
Those who go far don't just get there. they struggle and they strive along. It's a journey.
Yes, it is.
And it has to be done. You have to put time. You have to invest time in the journey, in the process that's going to take you to experience your dreams.
Exactly.
And
I
we are-
remember watching Facebook and seeing Cindy at the top of her feet were at the top of the shoulders of this big hunk, and she was like on one foot waving her pom-poms and so on. Cindy, you need to tell us about this experience.
You're a
What?
cheerleader?
You see, she's on Facebook
Let me tell
all
you,
the time.
Cindy has gone places. Put it out, put it out. Let's get the soup going. Boo your time. Let me know.
So you want to put me out there like that, right?
Right there on the table. Let's
Okay,
go.
so I was a cheerleader for the Grambling State University, the home of the Tigers. Woo woo, GSU.
You see that? You see that? Okay.
So
And
yes,
what state is that?
Well, that's in Louisiana, and I was a cheerleader for like 3 years.
Nice.
So I've done a lot of international competitions. Like you ever watch it, Bring It On?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, yeah, that was me kind of like bringing it on. That's what it looked
Wow,
like.
that's
So I
awesome.
went to Daytona like every year. We went down to Daytona and there was this national competition, and our team normally placed fourth. So it was an awesome experience, like the
Lovely.
best. Well, I went to school for 4 years, but I did cheerleading for 3 years.
All right.
Because I was really small, I was able to be at the top of all the pyramids. I couldn't flip to save my life, but my coach would put me at the top of that pyramid because
And
he
just
knew
stand there.
I would be in that pyramid and it wouldn't be coming down anytime soon unless
Okay.
I was told to come down from that pyramid.
All right,
Okay, thanks
nice.
for putting me out there, Chocolate.
Yeah, but did it take a lot of practice to really get there, or did you just see, hey, she's small, she's unique, let's use her?
Thank God for Saint Lucia. I got my footing from Saint Lucia and being part of so many dance teams.
Okay.
And when I got there, I had like, I had that little something going on.
A
and
little
my-
flexibility,
a little-
agility.
yeah, and I don't know, my coach just liked how, like he would tell me to do something, I would watch it a few times and then that pyramid will be up in the air.
Lovely, executed right
well,
away.
they wouldn't have thought that a Caribbean student, like I was the only Caribbean student on the team, and that kind of, yeah, thank you. You want my autograph? So that kind of encouraged the other Caribbean students who were there, and it was fun. Like I was having a really good time.
Great, wonderful.
Go GSU!
So check her out on Facebook. The soup is on Facebook. We have lovely photos, and we also have information of what interests the soup and what's going to come up on our next segments. So check us out on Facebook. Medalise is also there. Cindy's on there. You'll see her pictures of when she was all up in the pyramids and so
About to
on.
put them down.
Okay, viewers.
And with that said, thank
yes.
you so much to our guests for coming in, and thank you so much for. Okay, let me just say it the right way. Thank you for being here with us. I will see you next time right here on The Soup.